Welcome back to Nano Education. So the past few lectures, we've been looking at JavaScript, the canvas element of HTML, right? So we can draw on, in JavaScript using the, CTX dot whatever, right? By attaching a 2D context to our, canvas, right? So now what I want to look at is a JavaScript library called P5JS because JavaScript game development is not limited to the canvas. And I think that, and also it's not just limited because P5JS, you don't even need to have the canvas element to use it. Alright? It's just a library, which is like it helps you, it makes it easier. And it's not specifically targeted for game development. If you read right here, JavaScript library for creative coding. Focus on making coding accessible and inclusive for artists, designers, educators, and beginners, and anyone else. Okay? So it's not specifically for just, JavaScript game development. Alright? So what we want to go ahead and do is that in this video, I just want to start exploring a bit. Maybe we can make our life easier when we're developing games. It'll make it a lot easier, especially if you're getting a little confused as we're starting off and all. Don't worry, this is gonna make it so much easier. All right, I think it's a lot more simpler, and the setup is a lot more simpler. All right, so this thing has a very good documentation. Just go ahead and head over to Learn, and then if you just click on, Reference. Sorry, and then just give it a second, and you have all of these. Alright, you have like a whole list of commands that you can put. Alright, there's a lot of them. We'll try to go over the majority of them to make our games even more efficient, better, everything. Now, the thing that I was going to say is that I'm going to be planning on having a P5JS course coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I can't speak. Stay tuned for that. All right. And please be subscribed if you want to be notified when I release it. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and head over to download. Now, if you were to go ahead and click on Get Started, you would notice, all right, if my internet wants to respond, there we go, that it has a CDN link. For some reason, this did not work for me. I just recently did it, so like if you're watching the video like today, you'll probably not have the same issue. But what we're gonna go ahead and do is that we're gonna download the library. But let's just say you don't want to download it, all right? So P5, just like it says, not limited to canvas elements. So click on P5JS editor. They have an online editor for you to use, and you can click on the play button to run the code, alright? So you can do everything basically inside of here, but I'm not going to do that, but definitely you do want to do this, alright? If you're just want to start off with an online environment, save your time, save your life, alright? So, what I want to do is I'm going to click on, let's see, download, and we want to go ahead and just download P5JS. Or you can download the minified or the singular version. I'm gonna download the singular. The minified JS. All right. Now, in my directory, I already have a directory open. So I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna drag it into my directory. Boom, and it's saved. Now I just want to rename it. So I'm going to click on rename. I'm going to call it p5.min.js. Boom. Now index.html, alright, let's get rid of this error. Now I'm just going to make this smaller. So we have the majority room on our code editor, alright. I'm going to start with our simple HTML boilerplate. So head, title, and I'm going to call this JS Game Dev with P5 today. We're switching gears a bit. Then we have the body element. Inside of the body, we don't need to have anything besides your script tags, which one of them is going to point to the library. So we're just going to point to P5. So /p5.min.js. Now you make sure, so this points to P5. Alright, make sure that this comes first. Alright, this P5, that way it is read first before your others are. So your main app.js is, because your app.js relies on P5 at the moment. Okay, that's what we're doing. So this is points to our JS file. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to head over to app.js and we can leave index.js alone. We can just go ahead and close it out. No issue at all. Okay, now there are two. All right, so there is two simple functions to start with. Okay, the first one, function setup. Okay, then the next one, function draw. So each of these functions have their own. This is where you set up your canvas. Alright, so you set up canvas. Here you draw on your canvas. Draw on canvas. Okay. So I'm just gonna do this so you guys can see. Okay. So let's go ahead and open this. I'm gonna put it right there. Alright. There we go. Problem solved. Close the angle bracket. There we go. Okay. So inside of setup canvas, let's go ahead and create our canvas. Now you do not need to create our canvas, alright? So important fact, you are not required to create a canvas. Alright, you do not need to run the command. It will automatically do it for you. So we can just go ahead and head over to draw. And let's just start with a point. Alright, so if you're using Visual Studio Code, you might experience the problem where it predicts what you want. And it's going to point to, just to say, point 30, 30. Now I save, refresh. It is there, but you can't see it. Right there. If you can't still see it, right there, I just zoomed in. That's the point. That is like 500% zoom plus the trackpad zoom I'm doing manually. Okay, that's how tiny this point is. But in order to believe me, you gotta zoom in, okay? So I'm just gonna reset it. Still we can't see it. I'm just gonna zoom it all the way in. Okay, so it created that point for us. Now, we did not even set up our canvas yet, alright? But how do we know how big is our canvas at the moment? How do we know that? So first of all, you wanna reset your zoom. Then let's go ahead and we're going to define canvas size. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to be doing. So to define the canvas size, just do create canvas. Okay, that's the command. And how big you want it. So you want to have the x and the, not the width. You want the width and the height in here. So let's just say I wanted 400 as my width and 400 as my height. Okay, so I'm just going to move this comment to the top. Very top, right before the function. There we go. Okay, so you want to define your canvas, create canvas. Now, how do we know the canvas exists? So we can attach a background property here. And let's go ahead and just say that the background is going to be a black. That is our canvas, 400 by 400. We can just do 500, which will increase the width times height. We can make it 200, which will make it slimmer, but make this like 900, so it's taller, whatever. We're going to keep it 400 by 400. Okay, the background color is hashtag 333. So we can even do like HTML color. So black, red, green. Okay, so we have all these basic colors that we're allowed to use. And now that we've seen that our canvas really looks like, how big is it, how to set just a bit, there's very rare setup, just creating your canvas, alright? It's very, very simple stuff, alright? So we'll just say define canvas size. No, canvas background color. Okay? So remember that the canvas is where your game is going to be loaded. Alright, so now that we have looked at the canvas, I just want to look at the draw function now, alright? So we can start adding things to our canvas. Alright, so we already looked at points, alright, on our canvas, which is right here, x and y value on our point. Okay, but this point, right now, Where does it exist? Right there. So let me just zoom it in. Top, very, very top. Right there. That's our point. Okay? How do we make it bigger? Alright, so there's a property, and it's called stroke. So we're just going to call it stroke weight. Alright? So what we will do is we'll say stroke weight and give it a weight. So we can give it 5. You can kind of see it, but it's kind of still blind. 10, a lot better. 40, okay. 500, okay. You want that 10,000, all right. Even that means taking over the whole canvas, all right. So we're gonna stick with 15, all right. Now that is defining the stroke weight because this point is a stroke. Remember, strokes like the outline-ish, all right. And now what we're gonna look at is drawing a line. Okay? So to draw a line, it's simple as saying line. And then you want the x and y value. So you want to have the x and y value of the first beginning point of the line. So we're going to have, let's just say, 50 is where my first x and my first y for the first part of the line. Then the second part of the line. So that would be like the end point of the line. So let's just say I want that on 60. No, let's do 100, 100. That is our line. And you may notice that it defines the stroke weight. So let's just say we want to change that. We bring it down and we define it 0. Let's just say that doesn't make any sense. 1, boom. That is our line that we just drew. 50, 50 is our beginning point. 100, 100 is our end point-ish. Alright? Now it's going to draw a rectangle. Alright? Let me just... There we go. So to draw a rectangle, it's simple as saying rect, just like we used to. So we'll say rect, make sure it didn't do anything, okay? So instead of rect, let's just define the x, y, width, and height. So I want the x to be 30, y 20, width to be 40, and height to be 25. There is our rectangle, all right? And you may notice, if you zoom in close enough, it has a black border, but a fill of white, because that's a default fill, right? Because we're talking about strokes over, we haven't talked about fill. So if we wanted to fill this, we will have the command fill. Once again, Visual Studio Code doesn't respect me. Fill, and then okay, fill, and we're going to put the color property in here and define your color. So we're going to make it, let's just say, red. Our rectangle that we just drew is now officially red because now we're just putting it inside of this. Now what we could do, which you should opt in according to the documentation, is assign a variable. Let's just say rec color equal to, let's just say, red. Then we pass in rec color. Alright, that's what the documentation tells us to do so. Alright, maybe I don't know about it that well. I think it's a pretty good idea, but we'll see about that. Alright, so and then what it also, so now it tells us rec color, but according to the documentation, it says that you want to define like this. So like if you were to do a hex value, just pass in color, and then you'll do 333. Right? Or now you can do red. So this is what the documentation really tells us to do so. Okay, so define a rect color variable and then put it back into our fill command. And then we can actually have the exact same stroke command exist. So we'll just, and it passes the same rect color, but we want to change it, let's just say, to a white border. We'll say rec border. So rec border. Boom. So now you may notice that almost every single thing on our canvas got that border because we never defined a stroke color. Now we did, everything wants it. Okay, so that's the thing. If you never defined it before, and once you do, every single person in that canvas just wants it. Alright, so now let's gonna move on to drawing a square. So remember that a square has 4 equal sides. So when we define square, what in the world just come up with? When we define a square, alright, it only takes 3 parameters. It takes the x and y location and then the length of the sides. Okay? So let's just say I want my square to be at 30, 10, and then my each length of the side should be like 40. There. Alright, my square should be invisible at the moment. So what I'm going to do is just take a fill color. Alright, so I'm just going to define a color of fill color. We're going to say blue. And you can't still see it. Did I define something wrong? So 30, 10. Let's just do 0, 0. So let's see. What am I doing wrong here? So a square has 4. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. So I was just outside of the curly braces. There we go. Now we can move it. There we go. Here's our square. Okay. So we said that each length was 40. We can have 70. We can make a huge whatsoever. Alright. This is our square. This is how you would do it in P5. Okay. The last one is I want to talk about today is just be a triangle. Alright. We're just going over basic shapes today since I feel like really the fundamentals of shapes really matter. So triangle is kind of simple. So we just need something to spell triangle, then you can do it. Alright. So a triangle has 3 points. Right? Remember I talked about that. So we just need the x and y values for each point. So it will be like x, y, something like that. Alright. So we're going to start with our first x value, which is going to be 30. So then our xy. So this is 1 point of our triangle. Then we're going to start our second point, which is going to be 58, 20. Third point is going to be 86, 75. Here is our triangle, and let's going to change the color. So I'm going to take that, bring it down here, and change it to green. No, that matches. Not red. Different color. Orange. There we go. Alright, so this is our triangle. So I'm hoping that you're starting to see the pattern that what goes in setup, what goes in draw, and how we can actually draw these simple basic shapes that can actually turn into like very, very important components in our game. Like triangles can create Christmas trees in our game. Something like that, alright? And a square can be used to create a game such as Snake, alright, which I am actually planning on bringing into this curriculum, which is going to be incredible. Alright, so we're going to actually to see like, you want to find the perfect point for yourself. That's why I'm introducing you to P5 as well. You might actually like P5 better than regular JavaScript. So who knows, just adding the P5 library to your game development series will make it much, much more interesting for you. Alright, so I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. And also make sure you let your friends know about my channel. Since if I grow, I can make you better content. Alright? And I'm going to be having a lot of cool things coming in this coming weeks. Alright? As the channel is going to continue and all. It's going to be very amazing content. JavaScript, CSS, you name it what's coming. Alright? A whole entire CSS framework is even coming my way. Alright? So please stay tuned. Alright? And I'll see you guys in the next one.